Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. Happy New Year. I am one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is the Warmind reactivating, the Harpy wrangling, sharp shooting, protocol petting, dungeon diving, Iron Cabal himself, Josh Finney.
I appreciate all that. I like that. Corey, it's been a long time since we had it. Doesn't feel like it's been that long, but there's been a lot that's happened. We decided to take a couple weeks off. They kept the game rolling over Christmas.
Yeah. Apparently,
unexpectedly.
This is like, these were like the weeks we took off are the weeks we probably should have had a show.
It's wild because the last time we had a show, I was like, yeah, I'm planning to do I'm gonna do a quick reaction to the exotic quest and talk about Revision 0 and stuff, and well, that didn't happen because I got really tipsy that night, and then the next day I just straight up fell asleep early.
Yeah.
So I did not get to it with Christmas, and then immediately after Christmas, I drove to go visit our friend Ray Apollo.
And forgot your shoes, I saw.
I forgot my shoes on the way to Kansas, yes. It was slightly horrifying the closer I was getting to Kansas, realizing that there was still snow on the ground, and there was an increasing amount of snow as I got closer to him. Got to his driveway, there was ice, so I'm getting up the driveway when there's ice in flip-flops. I was also wearing shorts. I at least had some long pants with me, but yeah. It was much needed vacation, but by the time I got back, I was like, we've got like 6 days, so I'm just gonna hold my thoughts for this one. Yeah, we had that. We have Iron Banner this week. We had the Dawning. We missed the entirety of the Dawning on this show.
I know.
I
forgot to say the cookie bacon.
Oh my god, dude, the cookies, the fucking cookies. I was wondering what did I have to do to get one of those cookie tins from Bungie for the Dawning? That's what I was wondering. What do I got to do to get me some Gallardoodles to my house?
Oh man, Gallardoodles, man. I'll take some.
I did appreciate that the community had most delivered and least delivered when it came down to cookies. Most was Zavala.
Yeah. And
least was Petra. It actually surprises me that Riven got more cookies than Petra, apparently.
Of course.
You have to go through like all these hoops to get to Riven.
Yeah.
So that's actually really funny to me.
That's funny.
I personally would have expected Christmas Grandma to get the most cookies. She's right there.
Yeah.
But I get it. I get it with Zavala. I appreciate it. So part of the reason I've been trying to get lore pulled up is I really wanted to read the lore behind the Dawning Ghost, which we're going to have to hold off on because Bungie still has like everything from the season classified in the API. It makes it really hard to do a fucking show. I have to like go through and take screenshots on my Xbox.
Damage leaves for one day and everything goes.
Dude, damage leaves. Oh, we got to talk about that. We have a lot of things to talk about despite there being no Schwab. So I guess let's just go ahead and like jump on into it. Literally, it was right before our last show. I think it was like the day of, or the day before, we found out Damage was leaving.
Yeah.
I realized after we recorded the episode, we did not talk about it.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on Damage real fast. Man, what a fucking guy! Like, if you've ever played any kind of online game, you know how important the role of a community manager is, and honestly, a lot of the time, they're just like, I don't want to say like a mouthpiece for the company, but like, there's not a lot they can really do as a community manager. I think like always online games like Destiny or an MMO like Final Fantasy 14 or, Apex Legends, like those have the opportunity for community managers to interact with the community on a much more regular basis because there's like weekly updates going out for these games. There's playlist updates, there's balancing, there's patch notes. In a game like Destiny, there's PvE and PvP content. There's always special events going on. I saw a lot of celebrating under Damage's post, and it wasn't from like anyone that I care about in the community. I want to be really clear. Like nobody that like we actually care about in the community was doing this, but there were people being like, "Oh, finally, like fuck you, like you're just a Bungie mouthpiece." And I just want to say, like, you could have it so much worse than Damage.
Oh my gosh! Have you ever played any other online game?
Yeah. Like, part of his job is, yes, to say the lines of the company, but it's also to take the player feedback back to the development team. With an online game like Destiny, yeah, the team is always going to see that feedback, but I think the important thing to remember about Damage, and this is why I always liked him, is that he was a Destiny player first.
Yeah.
He, for those of you who don't know, Damage played vanilla Destiny. He played Dark Below. He got hired as a tester or on player support, excuse me, not a tester, player support team during House of Wolves. And then eventually joined the community team sometime before D2. I don't know the exact timeline. I think it was during Rise of Iron, maybe vanilla D2. But
I
he
thought it was
joined.
like when they brought like right before they brought like all the raids back in Rise of Iron and stuff, like in that in between time.
It might have been. My Bungie history is like kind of shaky around that time.
Yeah.
Really from like the April update of Taken King through the launch of D2, my Bungie history is just kind of like shaky. That was when I stopped playing the game, just straight up.
Hmm. Yeah, but a
Um,
lot of people did though, right? I mean,
he yeah, he joined a team that had at the time it had pretty much been Deej.
yeah,
It was Deej for so long. Cosmo joined right around the launch of Destiny, and like the three of them, I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen a community team, and thank God, like Damage and Cosmo continued this after Deej left. I would argue Damage is the most personal community manager I've ever seen
yeah,
in terms of interacting with players, being like, hey, we've got other support tools, but like, hey, here's some feedback from the team I can bring directly to you, not releasing it through direct channels. And I'm not saying that every community manager needs to do that. I'm saying that that's like going above and beyond in your job. This is a dude who, even when he was like out sick, was still like, hey, here's what's going on, like back at the studio. I was like, holy shit, dude, like please take care of your own health. This is a huge loss for the community.
yeah,
um Huge loss for Destiny fans, I think. And that is not me saying that I don't think that Cosmo, Liana, and Sam are not doing a good job.
yeah,
They've done a great job at bringing in these international community managers too, to help with those specific communities.
yeah.
Seen the Latin and South America community manager Bruno. He actually wrote the last Schwab before Christmas. Um, I think that those are important steps to be taking, and they are starting to hire people in Europe as well to help out, like in the Amsterdam office.
Hmm.
But in terms of the personal relationship, like that is a dude who waded into the fires on Reddit repeatedly.
Yeah,
I still can't believe that he did. Even I've given up on Reddit, and he was still in there in the thick of things. Cosmo also shows up in there. I shouldn't say it's all Damage, but Damage was personal on a level, I think, because he was a player of the game first, and so he understood the frustration, especially like in vanilla. He understood the frustrations
right.
of the player base. He's been on player support, so he's been trying to fix issues before, and it's just one of those things that you don't understand how good you got it until it's gone. I'm sure whoever they choose to hire will be great. I'm sure whoever they promote to his old position, most likely Liana at this point, is going to do great. But he was personal on a level that I think is extremely rare in this industry,
Yeah,
and for good reason. I mean, for very good reason.
yeah.
Uh, but it is clear that it did a really big no. And I don't want to get any speculation about why he quit. It's very clear he got severely burned out doing this job.
Well, yeah, he worked like 100 hours a day. It felt like every time I opened Twitter, he'd saying something or
Yep.
responding to someone or
Well, and we talked about it briefly on this show back in May. I want to say May, maybe beginning of June. Um, he announced he was going to take a sabbatical until the end of September, or until end of August, beginning of September, something like that. He basically took a break for the entire season of The Haunted. He was basically out of
Mhm.
office. Um, and I think that's kind of when it clicked with him that, hey, I think I want to move on to something else. In his farewell post, he literally said, I don't know if I'm going to stay in games. I don't know if my future is in games. And I think he's had to see so much of the ugly side.
Mhm.
We talked about a lot of the doxings that happened on this show. He has, straight up alluded to, if not outright said, that he was one of the people that was being targeted. Um, Especially, I think it was by one of the people they're suing right now.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine the number that must do on your mental
Oh
health.
my gosh, yeah, I know.
Um, to have somebody like personally messaging you threats and shit and like them actually be credible.
Yeah.
So, you know, Damage, you're never going to hear this, but thank you so much for advocating for the community, for voicing our frustrations, for listening to the frustrations. It became a meme, but really the we're listening actually did help.
Yeah.
Because it may take a while for action to be taken, but we knew you guys were at least listening. And I think you being so personal made it to where people like Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy, Justin Truman, Joe Blackburn, like they didn't have to be as personable with us. And I think that's going to change now. I think that Joe, especially Joe has been more personable. But I think that that's going to have to change. Like some of the more senior people at Bungie are going to have to start speaking up a little bit more, unfortunately. But I think that's part of Bungie's culture as a whole. They're a studio that's very open with their fans. They have been since the Halo days. So if anything, Damage is one of the people I think that exemplifies the Bungie culture more than anything. You know, when we hear about that, we think back to like the Halo 2 and 3 days, and it feels like he should be, you know, kind of remembered alongside that. Like, oh shit, like, you know, we think about like Luke Smith got hired and originally worked in Community. He literally did their podcast. We think about Deej getting hired and, you know, doing the weekly updates and whatnot. Well, you can add Damage to that list. Yeah, sure, he never went on to go become like a game director there or anything, but goddamn, there are few people who I think have made the impact he's made.
Sometimes you just find someone who has a knack for what, you know, being good at a position that might not be the most, you know, glorious or the, you know, but he's like, man, this is tough. Not that like you said before, like not that we don't believe in, you know, Cosmo or Liana or Sam or anything. It's just like he's been so important for such a long time that those are just big shoes to fill, and I don't envy anyone. I don't envy anybody who has to take over for him, and I'm really happy that he gets to finally like rest a little bit. You know, it's just, man, he's gonna be missed.
Yeah. So yeah, tip of the hat to you, Damage. We tip our cowboy hats. I hope that whatever
I don't have one yet, so I'll tip my regular hat.
Whatever, wherever your path takes you next, I hope it's just as fulfilling, that you feel as fulfilled, and I'm excited to see where you end up at. Whether you stay in this industry, and I hope you do.
Yeah,
I think that you are an incredible voice for players, and man, I can't wait to see what you do. You are a good man.
Yeah,
you're a good man. You understand players in a way that I think a lot of community managers struggle to. And I think going for non-traditional backgrounds, I think like, oh, you didn't go for somebody in like with a marketing and business degree, helps. You know, he's talked about his journey a lot. You know, going from, you know, being a guy who worked at GameStop to a couple of years later, he's community manager at Bungie.
Right.
Like that's just kind of a wild career path. But that speaks to, I think, how good he is at his job and with player advocacy. So good luck. I hope you enjoy the hike and the sabbatical that you're on currently. And when you come back to the internet, you know, maybe we'll all be excited for Lightfall instead of screaming at each other.
Maybe that's a big maybe.
That's a very big maybe. But let's move on to some other stuff that happened while we were on break. Corey.
Yes.
Operation Seraph Shield.
Yeah.
What a fucking mission.
Yeah, it was awesome. It reminded me of like, it really reminded me of the Outbreak mission and the Derelict Leviathan mission. Like it really reminded me of those missions. It was so cool. I wish the weapon was a little better, but I think the mission was super cool.
The mission is fucking outstanding. I really, really love it. It's funny because we talked about this a few weeks ago about how exotic missions and like secret missions are a thing of the past. This would have been a really cool thing to have kept secret, but realistically, I don't know how you would have encrypted that.
Yeah.
I mean, people were data mining this the second the season started.
Yeah.
And I mean, we knew that we were going to do a mission eventually anyways. They put it in the marketing materials.
Yeah.
I love the approach to this. It's you have to do the deep stone mechanics.
Yeah.
Which I really, really enjoyed. And it's like baby's first deep stone, basically, which makes me think we're not done with these mechanics either.
Yeah.
If you're going to put them in this, we've always said, raids are kind of how we introduce new mechanics, and then we put them into exotic missions or into dungeons. Something I really appreciate about, before we get like into like the story of it all, I appreciate that legendary difficulty is a thing here, and that you have the difficulty scaling of the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
It's really the first time that we've seen that scaling since the campaign, and man, it gets fucking wild. I ran it with Johnny and with Zhao from the Discord last week for the first Catalyst, and that final boss is no joke on Legend with 3 people.
Yeah,
he is a tanky, beefy boy. That was intense, and then I ran it back with Joasis this week for the second Catalyst. Just me and him ran in there, and oh my god, it was like night and day. It was so much better.
Yeah.
I did not feel the need to rip my thinning hair out anymore. So that was that was pretty enjoyable. But I like all of that. The enemy density feels good. It feels like an actual challenge, and I like that you have to complete it even on normal difficulty to progress the story of the season.
Yeah.
Tying it into the story was a really, really good idea, but I enjoy going through this, doing another spacewalk, just incredible.
Oh my gosh, seeing the Traveler kind of just in like actually seeing the size and scope of that thing.
The first time that we ran, so Andre and I ran it together, the first day, and just kind of wanted to. I just kind of wanted to sit there and look at it for a while.
Yeah.
That was great. It was outstanding. I really enjoyed seeing it. I took a lot of screenshots on the spacewalk.
Yeah.
But if you go down in the spacewalk, if you jump down to some of the lower platforms, the entire jumping puzzle from Deepstone is down there.
Yeah.
I did it in reverse, just trying to see if there was anything else down there, and there was not. There were some doors, but very quickly realized there was nothing of substance there. This mission had it all: fake surrenders, Hive Knights summoning Briggs, puzzles to solve. Man, the fake surrender might be the funniest thing that's happened in the game this year.
Yeah, that was funny.
You surrender, and then you get your weapons, and you just go in and absolutely massacre everyone inside the cat.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. Yeah, summoning all the Braytech frames. I think what would have made it better is if the robots were like jumping out the window with you.
Yeah.
These are the experiences that I wanted in this game so desperately again.
Yeah, I wish there was more of this.
Yeah.
So I wish there was like.
Can I propose a thought to you?
Okay.
Real quick, while we're on this train of thought, I would be okay if we know that we're trading off raid dungeon, every other season.
Mm-hmm.
If you gave us exotic missions like this, the seasons that we got dungeons, I think that adds a lot of substance.
Yeah.
But also, like, because this almost feels like a dungeon. Like, it takes you so long. Mm-hmm. It is a dungeon, essentially.
Yeah. I think I actually, so I was talking to our friend Mitch about this the other day, and we really only have one more raid to bring back from D1 theoretically, right? I mean, who knows what they're going to do with Crota, right? But like
they've already said if they bring back Crota, it has to be something. It has to be a new experience. Yeah.
So I would rather them make like if they only gave us. Let me propose this: if they gave us one new raid a year, 2 dungeons, and one of these missions every season, would you take that? Or would you trade? Would you want another dungeon experience or another raid experience?
I mean, so I was gonna say I want to put a pin. I'm putting a pin in this. We're coming back to this. This is our next topic.
Okay.
Value of the game. Value of the game is the next topic. These missions remind me why I love Destiny.
Yeah.
not just this, but we also had a story quest where we go back to the Iron Temple.
Yeah.
And that's like, it's such a small thing. Like you're in Vostok and then you go to the Iron Temple.
So
And
cool.
it's like, it's such a little thing, but hearing the Rise of Iron music and seeing the Cabal there is just like, it's this awesome moment, right?
Yeah.
Getting the remains of Fellspring, and then, you know, the story revelations that we go into. But this game is at its best when you have missions like, you ask people what are your favorite experiences in Destiny, and if they are a seasoned D2 player, you're going to hear the following answers. You're going to hear Whisper of the Wind. You're going to hear um, Zero Hour. You're going to hear Presage. You might hear Hawkmoon thrown in there, and now you're going to hear Operation Seraph Shield. This did what was it? Oh god, I forget the name of it. The Dead Messenger quest. It does what Dead Messenger's exotic quest failed to do, and that is be fun. The Dead Messenger quest, and so part of my problem with Dead Messenger is I don't like that quest, and I really need to figure out what the name of that Vox something. Not I don't think it's Obscura. It might be Obscura. Vox
Obscura.
Vox Obscura. I kept wanting to say Vox Machina, and it's like, no, this is not Critical Role. This did what that mission did, and it sounds like they kind of took the criticism of that to heart. There were so many fucking champions, even on like regular difficulty. There were so many fucking champions. It wasn't fun. It was timed. I'm over timed secret missions.
Oh my gosh, time stuff. Get out of here.
Yeah, like if you want to add a triumph like they did for Zero, or for for Seraph Shield, and be like, oh, finish this in under a half an hour to get a triumph, cool. I don't think that should affect, first off, I don't think it should affect seal completion. Second off, like, I don't think everything needs a timer. I saw some players who, you know, like to do the, oh, we're gonna run in and do, you know, we're world's first for raids and stuff. Like, that's cool that you guys like to do that. Not everyone likes that though, and I think if you could toggle the timer on and off, that would be cool. That would be something I'd be open to. Because I mean, after I did it like 3 times, I was like, yeah, okay, I kind of want to see the timer just so I know how close I am to getting this done, like in time for for said triumph. I think the other genius of this activity though is giving you a reason to go back and run it each week. So you get revision 0 at the end of the first run, and then in the 4 subsequent weeks we get the catalyst quests. You know, we have 2 of the 4 at the time of this recording. We also have had we have the abilities to go and shoot all of the hockey balloons that are scattered around the world. They're on the moon, they're on Europa, they're in the 3 battlegrounds, and they're in Seraph Station. Once you do all those, you unlock a jumping puzzle behind a sealed door. Once you get through said jumping puzzle, there's a mechanical dog at the end. I'm not spoiling anything because everybody has seen it by now. Mechanical dog at the end. You can pet it using the Good Boy protocol. And it's actually Fellwinter's mechanical dog. Which,
that's cool.
It's really cool. The dog is just chilling in the helm afterwards. I've already seen fan petitions, like jokingly floating around, like joking, not joking. Can we please bring the dog forward into Lightfall?
Yeah.
And I totally agree. Like, if we all end up in the helm, like for Lightfall, can we please have the mechanical dog there? This has been a lot of fun though, going in and exploring all the different areas, figuring out the secrets. I wish there were a few more secrets. I kind of wish there were some other things you could do in this mission, because this feels like it was meant to be a dungeon, and they basically said, no, let's build a different dungeon, and let's make this an exotic mission. Because Spire of the Watcher, I'm going to be totally honest, is very easy and very simple for a dungeon. That's not a bad thing, but it's probably the simplest dungeon we've gotten in a few years.
Yeah.
Again, not a bad thing. It's just like, I think since Prophecy, they've like lowered the difficulty on them, and again, not a bad thing. But, or at least for seasoned players, I feel like the difficulty factor has been lowered. Launching them with Master, great idea. This feels like it was supposed to be the dungeon originally, and then they changed their minds, and thank God they did. They course corrected. It's at some point they course corrected.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was after the reception of Vox Obscura, because that was pretty universally criticized.
Yeah, it was not very good.
I think the idea of the mission was good, but I think the 20-minute timer was a little silly.
Mm-hmm.
And God, if you ever did that thing on Master, that is the most insufferable thing I've ever done on Master in this game. You have to move at a breakneck pace. It's a darkness zone, revive tokens, all this and that. And there are no shit. There are like 30, 35 champions in that little mission.
Jeez.
That it's not fun. It's not fun in any way, shape, or form. So,
man, that's rough.
Yeah, it's rough. I'm a little curious to see what they have in store for us next season, with the launch of Lightfall, because I think they showed this year with Risen, they know how to make a season for an expansion. But I don't know. I guess wrapping up thoughts on Seraph Shield. Again, like great mission. The villain that you fight, the boss, is actually one of Aramis's lieutenants from the Beyond Light campaign.
Yeah, that was cool.
That we kill. It's the technocrat that we kill in one of the Empire hunts. That is her brought back to life. There, and that's the lore I wanted to read. Bungie still has things locked down in the API. But the witness basically resurrects them as a scorn in front of Aramis, basically telling her, like, you can either serve me or not. Either way, you're all ending up as scorn eventually. I have no need for the elixir.
Right. So it was cool. That whole thing was just, that's the first one I've wanted to do, like, again. Not that I haven't done the other ones again, but just the one that I've wanted to do again in a long time. So
it's not even like, for me, I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. It's kind of a nice, like, full circle moment from 0 Hour. When you do 0 Hour, Mithrix helps us invade the old tower and whatnot, infiltrate it. And the person we fight at the end is Spider's brother. We fight Spider's brother at the end, but he's there on orders from Aramis. So, like, showing that, like, his and Aramis's grudge match goes back quite a ways.
Yeah.
And, even, like, Spider, kind of, like, cautiously being on the side of Mithrax in a lot of ways. And now, like, after the events of last season, you're like, well, shit, she's kind of doing this out of desperation. She's being told by the witness, like, you will do this. Like, your soldiers will do, your house will do this. You are basically under the command of Xivu Arath. I'm a little curious to see how the story wraps up, because there's a reason why we keep going back in. There has been data mine information. We're not talking data mines.
No, because there's that big data mine thing that ended up being false. And
that's what we're going to talk about here in just a second. I want to get some thoughts in on Revision 0 real fast. I love the idea of this being the exotic for the last season of the year. The last season's usually a banger. If you did an exotic like this once a year, and I'm going to propose something, put it in the third season, which is usually, I don't want to say like usually your weakest, but it tends to be a little weaker than others. I mean, notable third seasons include, well, really the only third season, Worthy, Joker's Wild. Last year was kind of an exception with Splicer, but then you had the 6 months of Lost and the 30th anniversary. I think this would be really good to put into a lighter season, like Splicer, or not Splicer. Splicer's a strong season. Plunder, yeah. Put it in season of the Blunder, and I think being able to craft an exotic out of that is actually a really intriguing idea. I like the idea that you have to go do quests to unlock the catalyst. What I don't love is that they want you to do 4 different runs of this mission on Legend to get said catalysts.
Yeah, that's gross.
I think having to run like the last mission to get the catalyst and like unlock the intrinsic perks I think that would be fine. And like to do it like, oh, you want to get the title, go run it on Legend. I think like that would be okay. I'm not a huge fan of making everybody do it every week. Even though I personally like the mission, I can definitely see where that's going to get really aggravating really fast for solo players, or for just people who are like, oh my god, like this is this is a little ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This gun though, let me tell you, it's fucking worth it. I love the dual fire mode. I like that there's the burst mode and then there's 2-round burst. I think both of those are cool. This is an awesome exotic. This may arguably be my favorite exotic of the year.
I like the stronger, once you charge up that meter thing. I like that it does extra damage.
The sniper mode, yeah.
I really like. I mean, you know how I am about pulse rifles, man. I love a good pulse, and this is a good one. I'm enjoying it.
It's a really good one, and I think like this week is where like I liked it. This week is where I went from this is really good to goddamn, because we got the intrinsic perks. So previously you could only have a moving target on it. Mm-hmm. Now if you do the second catalyst quest this week, you unlock things like elemental capacitor. I believe you unlock Vorpal. This is the first. Johnny and I were talking about this. This may be the first one that we have to craft twice as an exotic weapon, because we want to have 2 different rolls on it.
Yeah.
And I want to have different catalysts on them as well. So right now I'm running elemental capacitor and the pressurized refit for my catalyst. I really enjoy those. Looking forward to getting the 4 times the charm catalyst. That is absolutely what I'm chasing. Naturally, it's the last one. This level of customization and personalization, I guess, of an exotic is unheard of in Destiny. Of any weapon, really, is unheard of. And this kind of fulfills the promise that I saw us getting with weapon crafting. And hot on the heels of this, we know now that Dead Man's Tale and Hawkmoon will both be craftable in Lightfall at the crafting table. So pretty clear they wanted to get the kinks with this out of the way first and then put those in the game.
Yeah.
We've been wondering all year, like, why aren't those 2 at the crafting table? They said they were looking into it. Well, it's pretty clear now why they aren't. They wanted the time in the spotlight to be on the new exotic. Mm-hmm. So I enjoy that. The only other thing I would really highlight with this is, talking about the mission briefly again, I keep coming back to it. This highlights the problem with the content vault and with sunsetting. This is a mission that absolutely should not go away in 2 months.
Yeah.
You have 7 weeks to experience this mission. That is insane when it is, I would say, pretty inarguably the best piece of content that Bungie has put out since Witch Queen. I think it's for me, it's the highlight of the year is this mission. Kingsfall does not count. Kingsfall already existed. In my opinion, a reprised raid does not count. This is the highlight of it, though, in a year that I think felt kind of down for a lot of us after Risen. Haunted, great narrative, horrible activity. The Sever missions got really old really fast. The grinding was awful that season. I'm still recovering from the grinding that season.
Yeah.
Last season did not help on that front, by the way. Even though we may have liked Catch Crash, after your 50th one, you're ready to
I mean, I was done after my 20th one.
You're crazy. Catch Crash was fun.
It was fun, but
expeditions were murderous.
The thing about Catch Crash is, I wish there was more variation.
And I can understand, and then at the same time, because I make the same argument, I look at it and I go, well, why bother if you're just going to take it out in a few months?
Yeah.
That really felt like the bare bones season to make sure that this season was really good, though. Between Seraph Shield, Spire of the Watcher, the Battlegrounds, goddamn, it really feels like, hey, we didn't really give you anything last season. Here's it all at once.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I look at it and I go, damn, the best piece of content out of an already great season isn't going to be available anymore. Presumably.
Yeah.
That is frustrating. I think there is absolutely no reason that mission completely exists outside of any other asset. Why on earth can this not continue to exist? We'll never know. Same with Presage. These are 2 missions that should still be in the game. If nothing else from their respective years are there besides the dungeons and the raids, these 2 things should still be there.
Yeah.
I'll even argue
No,
that
I
the
agree.
Exorcism of Savathun should probably still be there. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like these missions, these pinnacle moments in these stories
this is
should still be there.
this is this is so I actually thought about this a little bit over break because my nephew was playing a little bit of Destiny
Mm-hmm.
over the break. We played a lot of Fortnite together, by the way, and it was really fun. I got my first victory royale. Uh, but besides that, we he was playing a little bit, and he doesn't like he's like kind of interested in like what's going on, but he is just now jumping into it like 6 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
and like I'm trying to explain to him all this stuff, and this is where like man, if you just had like a curated, even from like the seasonal storylines, like a curated like 10 to 12 missions that would explain the story, or like a video, like a theater that you could watch some of the cutscenes of what's going on, or it's just oh man, like I've been playing God of War Ragnarok and Horizon, and they have that, even them, they have that nice little video of like previously on whatever, and it's like even if we got something like that before you start a campaign or something, like man, that would be kind of helpful.
Yeah. And I'm not really sure what the solution is there,
I
honestly.
know. I don't either.
I
It's
think
just
it's hard to, and we've addressed this so many times, so I don't want to really sit here and dwell on it. But it's really hard to encourage people who have never played this game or who have taken like a year or two off to come back to it, because like we'll talk about something like I was doing that the other day. I was talking about something to our friend Ray, and he was like, "Oh, damn, that would have been really cool to experience." And I was like, "Oh shit, you had to be there. You kind of had to be there for it."
mhm.
And he was like, "You mean it's not in the game anymore?" Like, yeah, no, it's not. Like, and he's like not against the sunsetting of content or anything, but like, yeah, he has a
Yeah,
newborn now. Well, he has a
right.
toddler. He's like, man, that kind of sucks. Like, he's not like into the grinding aspect and things like that, like the rest of us. He comes in, plays for the story, and kind of dips. Like, would be fine just to get
Yeah.
a dungeon or raid completion of each thing. But even I took him through regular Seraph Shield, and he was like, "Oh my god, this is really cool!" Like, yeah, it's a really cool mission. Too bad you can't get the catalysts because you're capped at 10 below what your light level is, and you're like 50. You're like 1550 or something. Like, I cannot take you into Legend. I can't get you the catalysts.
Right.
And so, unless you want to kill yourself and grind and grind and grind, and then Lightfall will be here, I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
The game is really, really unfriendly to people who take long breaks or who don't want to like go grind out things. And so I think power level is going to be gone very soon. This mission is this season actually, because he can go in and do the Battlegrounds playlist that automatically bumps him up to that level. So
Yeah.
it's like it feels like that's about to leave. Like power level may just be gone when we get to Lightfall.
Yeah. But that's been rumored forever, though, right? I mean,
It's been a request forever. I don't think it's actually been rumored. It came out in it came out in that barrage of leaks we had before Witch Queen that they were looking to get rid of it in the future. It resurfaced with the Lightfall leak last summer. I personally am not putting too much stock in those leakers anymore because, as we're about to talk about, some of them are full of bullshit, and this is why you should take them all with a grain of salt. Last week we come out, and while I'm on vacation, this awesome cutscene is playing for Clovis Bray, and people are getting the catalyst, and I'm looking at all of it, and then there is a data mine that comes out. Data mine, I'm putting it in quotations for those of you who can't see my camera. Comes out that there is evidence of a subscription model in the files for the game right now, that they supposedly there's evidence that, like, oh, Bungie was probably considering it. And it was from one of the most reliable data miners, who is, I don't think he's ever missed a beat. His name's Elliot. He's never missed a beat. He's always been pretty spot on. We get images and stuff from him all the time. And he came out and said all this, and then a couple days later he had to come out and be like, hey, so this kind of took off, and the I didn't mean for it to take on a life of its own, and I was afraid to come forward excuse. He was like,
uh
yeah, this was just a joke. I didn't think it was going to spread outside my Discord. Like, no,
oh,
dude,
okay.
you fucking knew it was going to. Like, you just wanted to see people react, and you wanted to ruffle feathers. So that dude's credibility is destroyed as far as I'm concerned. But it got me thinking, because for like the 48 hours where it seemed like this was kind of real, I mean, real outlets were picking up on this.
Right.
And we're talking about it. And it's not super far-fetched. This is a question that we've kind of debated privately amongst our friends group before. If there was a subscription for Destiny, what would it have to be? What would it have to contain, and what would the price have to be for you to be interested? And I think the starting baseline for this is it could not be more than $10 a month.
No.
It would have to, if it was $10, and let me give you some perspective. So $15 a month was what World of Warcraft, and I believe what Final Fantasy 15 comes out to, or Final Fantasy 14 ultimately comes out to. I know you have to buy time cards for Final Fantasy 14 now. So apologies if I got if I get the information there wrong, but if you were to give me a $10 a month subscription for Destiny, which for those keeping track at home, that's $120 a year. At bare minimum, it must come with access to all DLCs. All DLCs have to be included with that, including the newest ones.
Yeah.
I'm going to need some currency each month, some silver. I'm not saying like, oh, I don't know if 1,000 silver is appropriate to ask for if you're already going to give me all the expansions and all the seasons, but I'm going to need some silver. I'm going to need bright dust given extra bright dust given to me. So you already get extra as a season pass owner. I'm going to need more given to me on top of that.
I mean, look at Fortnite. Look at the Fortnite.
Well, that's what I'm getting. That's kind of what I'm getting to is Fortnite. So I've been subscribed to Fortnite Crew since I started playing Fortnite again. And for $10 a month, I get an exclusive skin. I get the accessories for it. I get access to the campaign mode to save the world. I get 1,000 V-Bucks, and occasionally there's some other extras in there. So like this season, there's been extras of, or for the last season or two, and it's going to continue for a few more, of a pickaxe that you can modify and change the look of on your own. Cool. That's very similar to something that was in the Battle Pass earlier this year, but whatever. I appreciate it. I also get my Battle Pass every couple months when a new Battle Pass comes out. I get that included with my $10 a month subscription. That, I feel, is worth it alone just for the V-Bucks and for the occasional time that they have a cool skin. For a Destiny one, though, for a game that is so PvE and PvP focused, like, I'm going to need access to all that. I'm going to need some exclusive cosmetics. You know, some ghost shells, some transmats, some emblems. I'm going to need things like that. I would go so far as to say that I want an exclusive armor set once or twice a year.
Yeah.
Or a set that, like, each year you can get it, but like depending on how many months that you're subscribed, it gets like it modifies itself. Like for 3 months, like it gets fancier. At 6 months, it gets better, and then 9 months. So I think that would be a cool idea. Let's see what else. I proposed a few other ideas. You would have to, and I mean have to, have a renewed focus on PvP, and I mean not just modes. You would have to guarantee brand new maps every single season, not reprise maps. Like you can give me reprise maps, you're gonna have to give me brand new maps every single season, though. Every season, I'm gonna need missions like Seraph Shield every season at that point.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else you would make as part of a subscription, but like for $10 a month is what you would need to charge. I think a ton of us would be willing to do that. And I mean, I'm going to propose something a little controversial here. What if you are a $10 a month paying player and everything that was previously in the game is available to download again or to play off the cloud? Like, give me access to my old shit again. I don't know.
But you don't think there would be an uproar of like, oh, I already paid for this. What?
There would absolutely be an uproar. I don't know what you do there, but I think that would also be like, it's a non-starter if you're not going to give us access to our old stuff. Like when I say the entire Destiny 2 experience, I mean the entire experience needs to be a part of it. Yeah, like that shit needs to come back to the regular game first off, or at least be there for optional download. But I don't know. Maybe you get access to, maybe they do sales in the Eververse for subscribing members, for Destiny crew members or something. There's things that you can do there. I personally do not think that Bungie's going to do a subscription until, at the very least, I don't think they kick it around until the next chapter of Destiny. Yeah. I think that more importantly, they got to get off the old consoles. They got to ditch Xbox One and PS4, and you got to do some stuff with PvP. So subscription model. Would you pay $10 a month if it came with those things, Corey?
Oh yeah, I would probably do that if
Okay.
it didn't come with some of those things. But yeah, I would. Just for silver and bright dust and cosmetics and a discount in Eververse alone was probably worth that. I mean, I would want missions and that kind of stuff too. But I don't know. I don't know. I also am in a position where I can do that freely, without scraping, like skipping a week's worth of meals and stuff. Like I'm in a good position, so like I can just do that. But uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think I would have a hard time, I think, justifying $10 a month if it did, because I mean silver doesn't really do anything for me. I don't buy a whole lot in the shop.
I would almost say
Um
it should be like I don't know. I don't know if $10 is kind of a lot. Just thinking of like what other service, like look at what Xbox offers you for $10 a month, right?
well, I understand. Well, I don't think those two things are mutually exclusive. I think that I think you can look at other games in the space and be like, what do
Yeah,
they do for their subscription? So like something like Fortnite Crew
yeah,
would be something you want to look at. What does like World of Warcraft still give you for your $15 a month? Like
hmm
things like that. I think those are like comparable business models,
hmm
and that's why I try to find somewhere in between. Like,
yeah. But they don't also like you look at something like Final Fantasy or World of Warcraft. They don't charge you for seasonal content, right? Because your subscription is what's paying for that.
they right. Well, and so with those games, I think also what we kind of miss is a subscription is mandatory to play those games. There is free to play content,
Yeah,
quote unquote, but you're gonna run out of that quickly. You can't do like, and again, correct me if I'm wrong. You cannot do the story content in those. You still have to buy the expansions, and I think you still have to buy playing time.
yeah. I
So
think Final Fantasy, the only thing that's free is like the base game.
I think Realm Reborn is free. I don't
hmm
know what beyond that is free, and that's not a problem.
hmm
As far as I'm concerned, that's not a huge issue.
Yeah,
The the concern to me is if the cost is if the value isn't there, because you have one shot to make a good impression with it.
right.
And I'll tell you, after playing a lot of Fortnite, the cosmetics in Destiny don't hit as hard for me. Like the armor sets are still cool, but like the emotes suck.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think the last emote I bought was they had the Goofy movie fishing dance one, the Powerline one was the last one I
Yeah,
bought.
I don't buy emotes anymore. I once in a great while will get one for Bright Dust, but it's like maybe once a year.
Yeah,
I don't buy finishers. I think the finishers are better done than anything.
yeah,
Um, those are cool, but again, like asking me to pay $10 for a finishing move is a little rough,
yeah,
especially when I have Golden Gun and have had Golden Gun for like 3 years. I don't want to take it off.
yeah,
um, it's I feel pretty confident saying that a subscription for Destiny is not going to happen, but if it
yeah,
did, I think that I would be very cautious about paying for it, because I mean, I guess I would probably do it if it included the expansions and the seasons. I probably would do it because I already pay $100 a year
hmm
for that
minimum.
content. Minimum, yeah, minimum. I pay that, and I mean, I think it would allow people who like, oh, it's a down season, I don't really like it. Okay, I'm not going to renew my sub next month, and then oh, I'm going to come back for other seasons and things like that.
Yeah,
Like, I think it would make it easier, and I think the other thing you would have to do is the last thing, you would have to make previously accessible season passes for that year available again.
yeah,
I think that would be the big selling point, is you can work on past season passes if you have the sub, which again would absolutely incite a riot, but you got to have there has to be a selling point somewhere. It can't just be, oh, here's some silver, some bright dust, and a couple of like weapon ornaments. Like, there's got to be an actual selling point somewhere.
yeah,
Exclusive missions are not good for anybody. They don't want that. Um, exclusive raids would be a problem, dungeons would be a problem. But I think allowing access to old season passes, like with the caveat of if you bought this, if you outright bought it, you can access it again.
Right.
But for everybody else, like, hey, if you sub to this, you can go unlock old season passes.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you can't work on them until you finish your current pass or something. I don't know. Like, figure something out. But they want to keep people in the gameplay loop. I think that those are some pretty easy ways to do it.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts on subscription services that are definitely not happening anytime soon?
No, I mean, there's no point in speculating anymore because it's not happening. I mean,
It's not happening.
Yeah, I would do it because I'm such a big fan, and obviously this show contributes a lot to that decision as well. But yeah, I don't have anything else to say because it's not happening. So, not happening.
Not happening at all. Oh my lord. Okay. I accidentally tabbed over and saw the Mavs game, and just this is how our 7-game win streak ends.
Mavs.
With Luka possibly hurt. Let's talk a little bit of story before we get into questions and a quick lore corner.
All right.
The story took a pretty drastic turn last week.
Drastic is an understatement.
we had a lot of things confirmed that we've suspected for a while. But the long and the short of it is Clovis has been working with us for the first few weeks of the season. Last week, when we did the mission to the Iron Temple, and we finally heard Rasputin speak, Anna basically ejected Clovis out of the helm, and we put Rasputin into the exoframe instead. We were finally able to fragment his mind together after years of waiting. He basically had sent a warning to us not to trust Clovis Bray.
Yeah.
And we get a cutscene out of this. And I think it's one of the best cutscenes that they've ever done.
It's cool.
I love these stylized cutscenes.
I do too.
But Rasputin confirms to us that what Clovis intended when he originally created Rasputin himself was to make a machine god, to make something to ultimately destroy the Traveler and to take its place. He intended for Rasputin to take its place. But his plan got fucked up when Anna taught Fellwinter compassion and about humanity and about art and literature and music, the love of music, the classical music and everything. Like, she taught him all of these things, understanding he was a learning AI, and Rasputin decided he was going to not shoot. He was not going to shoot down the Traveler, and he was instead going to protect it. He was going to protect humanity. That's been one of the longest fan theories, is that Rasputin shot the Traveler to keep it from leaving.
Uh-huh.
I am so happy that was finally debunked.
Yeah.
It was finally debunked. I think anybody who knows, anything constructive about the lore understood that was not a thing that had happened. But it was nice to have it confirmed. But we get a further confirmation, and that's that Clovis was planning to betray us. That Clovis was planning to upload himself using Rasputin's source code and make himself a machine god to replace the Traveler, to be the protector and savior of humanity, because Clovis wants more than anything to be worshipped. You know this. If you know anything about the history of Clovis Bray, you know that he's a megalomaniac. He's insane. He's literally insane. All you have to do is play the Glassway Strike to hear Elsie talk about him.
Yeah.
Like, he's a monster.
Yeah.
He's insane. He built this portal on Europa to let the Vex come through because the darkness told him to.
Right.
He's one of the greatest minds humanity's ever had in history, but through his own hubris, his own greed, he decided that he was better. Like, why? And you can hear it in his voice during some of these battlegrounds. I mean, obviously, if you progress to this point in the story, you won't get that dialogue anymore. But he basically will be like, he's trying to basically taunt Mara with promises of power and being like, where's the Traveler? The Traveler, what has it ever done for us? The Hive are still here, the Elixni, the Cabal, you're aligning yourself with these factions now. The Traveler gave the light to the Hive.
Right.
And all these excuses that it had, that he has, and now he's trapped on Europa. That's certainly not the last we've seen of him for this season. We know we have 2, maybe 3 more weeks of story to go. But also, Osiris, you can hear him talking in the latest after mission dialogue. He talks to Rasputin and is like, "Hey, I know about a stronghold on Neptune. I need it confirmed.
Yeah.
I need it confirmed. I have to. He's having this identity crisis essentially, and he's like, I need this. I need this. I need to prove myself to the Vanguard and to Ikora, to the Hidden. I mean, the Hidden are tracking Osiris's every move right now because nobody trusts him
Right.
after what happened. Through no fault of his own, but they don't trust him. They're ready to kill him. They're ready to put him down if they have to. So we come to the great conundrum of Clovis Bray. Like, you have Earth's greatest mind, maybe ever, locked away in a vault on Europa because you can't trust him. You cannot trust this guy.
No.
And a lot of our questions this week, actually, we only have a few questions. We got the thread up late in the Discord, but 3 of our questions are about Clovis Bray. And Joasis, for example, writes in and says, how things are going with the story, do you think Clovis is working with the Witness in some way? I'm going to go ahead and debunk this. I'm going to put this in the false category.
Yeah, I think he wants the power to himself. I think he's too egotistical to try to work from someone.
He's too prideful, and we forget that Clovis wants more than anything. Clovis wants to be the savior of humanity. I don't think he would go so far as to work with the Witness. Maybe if he was still in his human body, he would consider it. Be the disciple, be the human disciple or something. But I don't think he's going to work with the Witness. I don't think he's working with the Witness at all. Otherwise, why would Xivu Arath have to continually be raiding the Braytech vaults that are in the Seraph Shield?
Right.
And why would they be trying to gain control of the Warsat network if Clovis was in control of it already?
Right.
And then Dealer asks, he goes, did Clovis cause the collapse with the Warmind, or did the collapse happen because he did nothing? Neither. The collapse happened because the Witness pursued the Traveler. The Darkness pursued the Traveler, and there was a long-running theory in the fandom that the Traveler was going to flee in the hopes that it would protect humanity, but it stayed and fought. Now, we don't know if that is actually true. That is the story that the Guardians tell, is that the Traveler chose to stay and fight. And we now know that Rasputin did not shoot the Traveler to keep it here when it tried to flee. We now know that, and that's been a long-running popular theory. Savathun intercepted the Witness's fleet around the moon because she's the reason Nezarec was not able to reach Earth. She is the reason. We know that she interfered to protect the Traveler during the collapse.
Right.
That is what was different about here versus the Elixni homeworld versus the planet of the Krill. Fundament. This is what was different from Fundament, from Reese, was that there were other species that interfered. There were other things at work. I suspect we get more information in Lightfall. As to, I mean, if that what the name implies, like, this is it. This is the darkest hour.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'll pose to you is, I mean, look at how easily Rasputin was dispatched when the pyramids showed up in Arrivals. Basically, he fired his whole ass arsenal at these ships, and it was like throwing pebbles at a car. Pebbles at a semi. That's what I'll give you. Throwing little tiny stone, not even stones, like playground pebbles at an 18-wheeler is essentially what happened. And the Witness basically just swept his hand, and that was it. That was it. The Warmind network complete. Humanity's best possible defense, gone. Gone. Just like that. The only thing that saved us from the darkness encroaching and taking Earth along with it when those planets were sunset was literally the Traveler reawakening after years of being kind of in a coma.
Yeah.
Not even kind of. Like, it reawoke during the Red War to destroy Gaul and destroy the cage around it, repel the Red Fleet, but then it was it was destroyed. I mean, look at all, the swirling parts of it. It was damaged, and then it healed itself during the event we all saw in the tower. So Rasputin being operable would not have prevented anything. I want to be really clear about that. It wouldn't have prevented anything. Now, if we're able to get Rasputin back into the network, could he now help us now with what we know about these ships? Possibly, but they're very clearly still afraid of what Rasputin can do, and I think it's from a ground ordnance standpoint. I think that's what scares the Witness, is that if he decided to just rain warsats down, that's it. Your ground forces are fucked. He may not be able to do anything about the ships, but if he can get to your ground forces, he can fuck you up pretty badly.
Yeah.
I just imagine warsats raining down on like Hive tomb ships, and it's a really funny mental image. But at the same time, we also have to be mindful of the fact that Xivu Arath is the Hive god of war, and she needs her tribute. So war helps with her tribute. So I would say we need to keep that in the back of our minds as well. When we talk about these things.
Yeah, I mean, I keep like, there's so much going on. I keep forgetting that Xivu Arath is like involved, like heavily involved, because all this stuff with Rasputin and Clovis Bray is going on. So yeah, it's crazy. There's so much going on right now, setting up for Lightfall that, I mean,
well, I think that's the most important thing we have to remember here too, is that this is all happening in the season leading up to Lightfall. There is a reason for this happening.
Yeah. I want to see what's going on. Like, I want to know how nobody knows of Neptune too. Like, we still don't have that answer yet.
We don't have that answer yet, and I don't know that we're going to get that answer until the Lightfall campaign. I have my own theories that maybe that's the one Exodus ship that managed to get out there. There has been some dialogue in the game talking about the Nephili stronghold, though, and I'm kind of wondering if maybe there were supposed to be other ones like that. Maybe there were supposed to be other civilizations like Neptune that got out there that were able to get away from the collapse. Maybe they were far enough away, they've kept secret. But also, like, how did Savathun knew about him and never attacked him? So, or if she did, she was repelled, and I'd be very impressed. The Vex fish hold the answer.
The Vex fish. Oh my gosh.
The Vex fish. Let's man.
It's called a puka.
It is called a puka. I got my notice that thing is going to be shipping here in a couple of weeks, and I'm very excited.
Nice.
Joasis also asks, who do you think we're fighting in the Lightfall raid? Rolk kind of like ruins the expectations, I think, because now it's like, well, shit, it could be anybody. Before, we had boring answers like, oh, well, we're going to fight Aramis, or we're going to fight Savathun, and then they threw Tannix and Rolk at us.
Right.
I have no idea. Honestly, at this point, I'm kind of wondering if this is where we deal with Xivu Arath.
It's just Tannix again.
If it's fucking Tannix again, I'm turning off the game. If I get to that boss room and it's fucking Tannix, I'm turning off the game. I really do genuinely hope that we deal with one of the Hive sisters here.
It's got to be
I think it's got to be Xivu Arath.
You don't think it could be? You don't think it could be? What's his face again though?
Callus?
Cabal guy. Yeah, Callus. So, you don't think it could be him again?
I'm torn of two different minds on Callus. I think that the legendary campaign for Witch, or not, I keep calling it just the legendary campaign. The campaign for Witch Queen showed us that we can fight a threat and then be gone, but the threat still linger. I mean, because come on, Savathun's going to get resurrected by her ghost. I think that's a little bit different, but like Callus, I can't imagine killing off a character that's been involved in the entirety of Destiny 2 I can't imagine just killing him off in a raid where only a fraction of players will ever see it. I truly think that we're dealing with Callus in the campaign. I think Callus is a campaign boss. Is the campaign boss, I would wager to say.
Well,
I
you don't
would love to
think
fight
the
Callus in the campaign. So similar to the Savathun fight, I would love for it to be a 2-part fight where you fight Callus first, and then you think the mission is over, and then all of a sudden you have to fight the Witness for the first time. I think that would be fucking cool.
That would be a cool fight. And then like the raid for, not to get too ahead of ourselves, but for the final shape, the raid for the final shape, like you fight all of each encounter is a different disciple.
Yeah, I think that is going to be a very, very interesting raid. We've talked about these raids before, and I mean, I think that's kind of where you deal with anybody that hasn't been dealt with yet. Because we have 2 dungeons and a raid after Lightfall, and that's it. That's the end of the storyline.
Yeah.
I do think that we fight Savathun again, but it'll be after the final shape. It'll be like the dungeon that we get after that, like as like a wrap up thing. I could see that happening. Just
or like the fall, or like the second raid that we get.
Maybe. I just think that at a certain point we're gonna have to team up with like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Or hey, maybe she just continues to exist and that's it. They have to start laying the bricks for what comes after Final Shape as well. And I think they're starting to do a little bit of that with the current storytelling. They've made allusions in the lore to civilizations beyond the stars, and Osiris talks about it in some of his dialogue about like, well, Saint and I once talked about traveling the universe, leaving the soul system. But that feels like a lifetime ago. That feels like lifetimes ago now, because he lost Saint to the Infinite Forest for, well, he was dead, and then we changed time. I still don't think that we're done with the sundial. That personal conspiracy there. I know we're getting way off track, but as for who we fight in the final shape or in the Lightfall raid, my money is Xivu Arath. I think I'm wrong. I think it's Xivu Arath or something tied to Elsie. I don't think we fight. Obviously, I don't think we fight Elsie, but I think it's maybe as a result of the Traveler kicking her through time. Maybe an enemy has also been kicked through time.
Yeah,
and we have to fight them.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what happens there.
You think Clovis Bray will be any part of any dungeon? I feel like he would be a dungeon boss at some point.
I mean, I can't really make a judgment on that until we see the end of the season. I want to see how the season wraps up first. I think to get rid of him in seasonal content would be disappointing, but at the same time, he hasn't really had a front row seat in the expansions. His has been in side quests for the most part. So I think there's plenty you could do there. I don't know how I feel about fighting a giant exo frame.
Yeah, but they can make it cool, like Mass Effect 2 almost.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that final.
Give it a body.
I don't want to talk about that. No.
Multi-layer.
No.
Clovis.
We're done.
Exo body.
We're done because they're never going to do a mission that's as good as the suicide mission, so it doesn't matter. Dealer also asks us,
what if it is a suicide mission? What if the entire last campaign is a suicide mission?
I mean,
that sounds like something they would do. It's not like they haven't done it before with Halo.
I mean, I think that was a little different. Like, when I think suicide mission now, after having played Mass Effect 2, like, the bar is raised. Like, I want my NPCs. I want to be giving orders to my NPCs now. And I don't think Destiny is going to allow me to do that. So...
what if you could go in with, like, Keitel and Zavala and Saladin and Shaxx?
If I get to ride on Keitel's shoulders, that would be amazing. Listen, all I need is my boy Crow... and I need Saint with me. Those are the homies that I'm picking. If I'm going in, I want those homies with me, and I want Ikora, Keitel, and Mithrax as my backup. I want them to be like my reserve team.
There's got to be a giant cutscene with all of them fighting the darkness, right?
I mean,
there's got to be like a real one, not one of these stylized ones, but like a real one.
They're saving that for Final Shape, dude.
Like a Blur style cutscene.
Yeah, they're absolutely saving We also have Dealer also writes in with another question. I meant to read this earlier when we were talking about the catalyst for Revision Zero. What are your thoughts on time gating a weapon catalyst? Um, Low key, I'm kind of okay with it. If it's done like Revision Zero or like the Dead Man's Catalyst was, I'm okay with it. I think it gives you a little bit more content in a season. It gives you a reason to log in and play. Um, you get to play with the weapon before the catalyst is out. Because once the catalyst is out, let's be honest, that's all we're never going to use the base version of the gun ever again. That's
Right.
idiotic.
What's the
I think
point?
it gives you the chance to experience the weapon the way that the devs intended it for originally, and then the catalyst just gives you the better version of said gun.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it, but I also don't like. So if it's for a quest like Revision Zero, I'm fine with the way it's unlocking. You have reasons to go back there every week. There is some story tied to these with Member of the Hidden, which I'm absolutely convinced is Fenchurch. By the way, I need to go look at the code, but I'm absolutely certain that it's Fenchurch that's talking to us.
You've been talking about Fenchurch for like a year.
So each of these messages that you get is signed Fen092, and I'm fairly certain that it's Fenchurch.
Yeah.
I need to make sure that that's the actual code in this next week's, and then I'm gonna look it up in my in one of my books and find it. But I think that doing catalysts like that is fine, or doing them tied to like progression, like um, what am I trying to say here? Like having to go back in and do like master versions of raids, like locking behind master versions of raids or dungeons is okay. What I'm not okay with is having to wait years and years and years for a weapon to get a catalyst, like Le Monarch or Jotun. I think it's insane that we just got a Jotun catalyst within like the last 6 months.
Yeah.
That's absolutely bonkers. That's a Black Armory exotic, and we're just now getting a catalyst for it. That's wild. I was always a fan of how the Whisper and Outbreak catalysts were done because you had to actually work for them. And that's how I
Yeah.
feel about Revision Zeros as well. It's not just being handed to me. I would rather have to do stuff like this than have to go get like 1,000 PvP kills with a gun or something like that. Leviathan's Breath had some insane requirement, I think, to do like you can unlock the catalyst, but then to actually like level up the catalyst, you had to do something ridiculous. If it's something like that, I don't want it. If it's like Revision Zero or the Outbreak or the Whisper of the Worm ones, bring it on. I will do these all the time.
Yeah, I would love more of this.
So that does it for questions, but I realized we skipped over something that I really want to talk about. How long we talk about it's going to depend on how much Corey's been able to play, but have you played the new Iron Banner yet?
I played like 2 matches of it, and I am struggling to like go back to it.
Oh,
I want
man.
to. I want to because of the armor. I think the armor is the best Iron Banner armor they've had for Titans at least.
Yeah.
But man,
I think I'm the exact opposite. This man, I think that Eruption was a more fun mode. I want to be really clear. And this is the perfect mode to show to the developers of Destiny about the issues of ability spam and overshields. But goddamn, I have not had as much fun as I've been having in a very long time in Destiny. In PvP, I played about 3 or 4 hours last night. We had a 6 stat going, had a 3 or 4 hour run there. Me, Johnny, Dealer, Fox was in there, Zhao was in there. We had a great time there. And then this afternoon, Dealer and I ran. I think Joasis was in there for a while too. And then this afternoon, Dealer and I ran a couple more hours with New Warrior. And goddamn, I'm having a blast with this. I think it's fun. I love zone control. I always liked it. I think the addition of the Cabal turrets is like it's cool, but it's like inconsequential. It really like you have to get a bubble onto the point. If you get a bubble onto the point, congratulations, you basically have sealed it. There are and you can very clearly tell who plays PvP and who doesn't based on who's complaining about the bubbles, because Blade Barrage can break a bubble, Thunder Crash, Nova Bombs, you can break the bubble.
Yeah.
You can break the bubble. If you can get inside the bubble and either Nova Bomb them or drop a tether, or I don't know if Whirlwind Storm works in there, the new Hunter Arc Super, but there are options here. There's plenty of options. The thing that it's funny we were talking about, the thing that we actually hate the most is the Dead Man's Tail meta, because it's a 2-tap.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2-tap. It makes it impossible to do anything in Trials, in Iron Banner. It's really, really frustrating. But I think that this is still a really fun mode. I would like to see some changes made to it. Um, I'd like to maybe see three times of the Cabal Zone instead of just two. Increase the score to 250 so that there is motivation to get kills also, and not just rush the
Right.
zone.
Yeah.
Um,
I
and
think
then
maybe I just need to play more. I don't know. Maybe
you
I
need to
just need
play
to play
more,
more.
but I also think that playing with a group really makes it fun.
Yeah.
So like John and I, the first night we were playing, we were running up. He would drop a bubble, and I would just wait for people. I had a glaive. I would just wait for people to come in and beat their asses. That's all I was doing. I was just beating them. And we had a stasis warlock out there freezing people, and of course, that makes it easy to just combo glaives or
Mm-hmm.
shotgun shots and melees. And I've been having a lot of fun. Like, yeah, I do think that the overshields are so annoying. It's overshield city out there. I hate it, but I can't help but laugh when we get to those points and people keep trying to rush into the bubble, or like they just stand there, because you can tell again who doesn't play this based on what they're doing to counter it. I don't know. I've been having a lot of fun with zone control. I don't know how much more I'll play. I'm close to a reset, or I'm a little over halfway to a reset in Iron Banner Rep. I might get it reset this week. If I do, I certainly won't be playing the second week of Iron Banner. That's enough banner for me in one season. I just reset my Crucible rank this evening for the season. Finally got the pulse. And I think it's also hard, like, when only one of the weapons is good. Like, Ganora's Axe is really good. Dark Decider is trash in PvP. Unsure of how it's going to be in PvE yet. I've got other guns that I like of that archetype in my energy slot already. The appeal of this one is it can run Volt Shot, but I don't know if that's enough for me right now. When I've got a perfectly good level 45 Sweet Sorrow chilling in my vault that I haven't used in a couple seasons. But yeah, no, Iron Banner, 2 thumbs up. I say something that triggers a content creator. Iron Banner is fun right now.
Oh no!
Dude, I just the amount of complaining and crying I've seen over this mode. Like, listen, I'll
So
agree with some of your criticisms, and like I do think that we need to be able to see kills at the end of the round, but goddamn, just because it doesn't show that doesn't mean that this is trash.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I don't even mind the skill based matchmaking, frankly.
yeah.
So
No, I'll just have to play a little bit more. I just haven't. I mean, this week's been busy, uh, but I'll play more, and then I'll talk a little bit more about it next week, probably.
yeah, we'll definitely talk a little bit more next week.
Yeah.
I want to
Most of my
play
Destiny time is done on the weekend anyway.
that's
So
fair. I really wanted to make sure we got in a little bit of Iron Banner discussion here at
yeah,
the end.
I did play it just so we could talk about it a little bit here because I figured we would talk
Yeah.
about it. But like I said, I just haven't played enough. So
Alrighty. Well, Corey, I think that's gonna do it for us because we had talked, kind of about some like deep lore stuff with Clovis tonight. We're gonna let that be our lore corner, and I'm gonna either hope that Bungie straightens out the API sometime in the next week. They've had a lot of problems with it this season.
yeah,
That they
yeah,
straighten it out, or I literally will go through and start screenshotting things from the Xbox app.
yeah.
So that we can have a legit lore corner next week. It's been like a month since I had a legit one.
I know.
I want to get into it. We've got plenty to talk about from this season, and I
I
got to try
still
and figure out what we're gonna do because we're gonna have a collector's edition on the doorstep here in a couple weeks. Got to be ready to tear apart whatever journal is in there this year.
yeah. I still have to publish all the lore corners from last season still. I have a bunch of them uploaded. I just need to publish them. So I'm trying to make Lore Corner breakout stuff for YouTube. Not that we'll ever be like, Bife or anything, but
No.
Anyways.
Alrighty, let's do it.
Yep, let's get out of here. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of Tower Casuals. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Tower Casuals. Like, subscribe, rate us, leave us a nice review on Apple Podcasts. If you are listening on Spotify, leave us a 5-star rating. Josh, thank you for your time tonight, as always.
Always.
Where can we find you?
At Josh_Finn, 2 N's on Twitter. Twitter hasn't somehow imploded over the last couple of weeks, so I'm still there and kicking. I'm on there a lot less than I used to be. Come hang out in the Tower Casuals Discord. That's where I spend a lot of my time talking Destiny these days.
Yeah. They finally fixed the Discord app for Mac, so I have it on my desktop now.
Also, while we're talking about the Discord, I wanted to highlight a couple of things. We have we're doing some game nights in Discord coming up.
Yeah.
Let me get those exactly pulled up for us so that I'm not getting the dates wrong. But
thanks to Nerd Generalist.
Yeah, Nerd Generalist has been getting some stuff set up. Really, really awesome for us. Next Wednesday, January 11th. I think it's 7:30 Central is when we're planning on doing it. We are going to do a Halo Master Chief Collection night in the Discord. Just get in there, play some PvP. Depending on how many people we get, maybe we can get some custom games going. And then on the 25th, which is also a Wednesday, at 8 o'clock Central, it looks like Nerd is setting up a Discord poker night for us to have. So you guys go in there, sign up for those. Go have fun. I may set up a Fortnite night here pretty soon. May get some squads rolling in there. Zhao's been doing some runs. He did some runs with me last week, or week before, I guess it was the week of Christmas, with the My Hero Academia stuff with Ray and I. And of course, Johnny and I play a fair amount of Fortnite during the season. Really wanting to get some more in before Lightfall comes, and Persona 4 is here in about a week and some change now, so I'll be completely consumed by that as well. Last thing I want to note is in the Discord, I'm giving everybody fair warning because we announced it today. We are doing a Cowboy fashion contest.
Yeah.
Get your best Cowboy drips ready to go, because we are doing a fashion contest that is going to open up on the 17th of January. So you still have 2 weeks to get your best drips ready. And I think here in the next week or two, I'm going to sit down and start planning some things out for next month and for the first few weeks of Lightfall. We've got dungeon groups going. We've had some raid nights going. I know that Dealer really wants to do custom games for PvP. So come hang out with us. Tell your friends. It's a really chill community. We're just vibing right now. No bad attitudes. We're all chilling. Yeah.
Join the Discord. I'm going to set up some dungeon runs too, because I know some people are still looking for their cowboy hats, including me. So over
it's worth noting the dungeon is farmable this season and next season. So get in there, do a few runs, get your cowboy hats.
Yeah, I need to get that stupid cowboy hat. So look for that set up. Also, what else was I saying, Josh? Oh, if you are looking for a clan to join, you can join the Tower Casuals clan. You got to join the Discord and then join the clan from the Discord.
I finally joined the Tower Casuals clan.
Yeah. It only took him 2.5 years, but he did it.
2.5 years. I finally did it. Never say that I don't eventually get around to doing things.
It's fine. I believe in you, Josh. I knew you could do it. Anyways, you can find me at I am Corey HC on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.